They cut me from my own brother's wedding after I paid for it. Yeah. Let that sink in for a second. The call came while I was reviewing reports for one of our hotel chains. Assistant buzzed in, "Sir, Elegant Events is on the line." I figured it was about the wedding. My younger brother Marcus was getting married next month, and 6 months ago, when I heard they were short on funds, I quietly paid the $50,000 deposit to keep things moving. No big announcement, no drama, just wanted him to have a great day. So I pick up, and the planner's voice is tight. "Mr. Sterling, I'm calling about the Henderson Miller wedding. I'm afraid your family has asked us to remove your name from the guest list. They've decided, due to a family disagreement, that you're not invited to the ceremony or the reception. But they also asked to keep your $50,000 deposit, since it's already been used." I just sat there, staring out the window at half the skyline I practically own. And I said, calm as anything, "Cancel the wedding." Dead silence on the other end. "Sir, you're not the groom. You can't." "Yes, I can," I said. "You're Elegant Events, right?" She confirmed. "Owned by Sterling Event Holdings?" Another yes. "And that's owned by Sterling Hospitality Group, which I own." It was like a switch flipped. I started listing everything they'd booked. The venue? Mine. The catering? Mine. Flowers, photography, limos, rehearsal dinner, all through companies I own. Even the bachelor party resort. Mine. One by one, I pulled every string, because every string was mine. I told her to cancel everything, refund the guests' hotel deposits, and send the family a bill for the balance minus the $50,000, which I'd now consider a cancellation fee. And that was that. 30 minutes later, my mom texts me, saying my behavior lately has been unacceptable, and that they've decided I shouldn't attend the wedding. But they'd appreciate if they could still keep the money. I texted back, "Understood. Enjoy the celebration." Here's what no one in my family ever bothered to ask: what I've been doing these last 8 years. They still see me as the Harvard dropout who threw his life away. They have no clue I turned that dropout moment into Sterling Hospitality Group, 47 venues, 23 restaurants, 12 hotels, and full vertical control of every piece of the luxury event industry. I built all of it quietly, started with a studio apartment, planning office parties and elopements while they laughed behind my back. Bought my first venue in year 2. Acquired a failing resort in year 4. By year 6, I was buying out entire chains. But at Thanksgiving, they'd still ask about my little party thing while bragging about Marcus making partner at a law firm. It was kind of funny, honestly. Then the phone calls started pouring in. First my dad, some woman said our wedding was cancelled. I said, "Yeah, I did that. You uninvited me, so I pulled the funding." He was stunned. "Wait, you paid for it? Venue, flowers, catering, bachelor party, limos, all mine, Dad. All booked through companies I own. You just uninvited your investor." Next day, Marcus calls. He's pissed. "What are you doing? You're ruining my wedding." I said, "No, you ruined it. I paid for it. You kicked me out. You don't get both." He went quiet. Then said something that almost felt sincere. "I didn't know you were the one who paid. Mom never told me." "Exactly," I said. "You never asked." And here's the kicker: his fiancée, Jennifer, calls me a few hours later. Her voice is shaky. "David, I had no idea about the money, the businesses, any of it. I just thought you were, doing your own thing." I asked her, "And now?" She said, Now I realize you're the only one who showed up for us without asking for anything back." Then she paused and added, "You still have an invite from me. If you'll take it." That one hit different. Anyway, I gave them a choice. They could rebook one of my smaller venues, under my terms, $200,000 up front, basic catering, limited capacity, no upgrades, and I get reinstated on the guest list with a formal family apology. Take it or leave it. 3 days later, they agreed. We met for lunch, whole family, at the Harborview Resort, one of my crown jewels. Mom couldn't stop staring at the chandelier. Dad kept clearing his throat like he was gonna say something profound. Finally, Marcus looked me in the eye and said, "I was wrong, David. I misjudged you." And I told him, "You didn't just misjudge me, you erased me." He asked if I'd be his best man. I said yes. The wedding happened. It was beautiful, intimate, classy, every detail perfect. My team crushed it, obviously. During my speech, I looked at my parents, then at Marcus, and said, "Turns out, the dropout wasn't the disappointment. He was just building something you couldn't see yet." They laughed, some cried. But they heard it. Afterward, my dad asked me, "Why didn't you tell us sooner?" And I said, "Because I wanted to know if you could love me when you thought I was a failure." So now I'll ask you, if you found out the family screw-up was secretly holding everything together, would you apologize? Or would you still try to keep the money? Let me know in the comments. I'll be reading.